what are your kind of thoughts on how we track and understand user and entity behavior? Is that, that's obviously a kind of, I'm assuming, a big part of RevealSecurity. How do you think that works?
So RevealSecurity is a kind of a user behavior analytics, but very different than the one that exists in the market, so known in the market, because there was a big promise around user behavior analytics. And some of these solutions have been implemented, but mostly around infrastructure. And the challenge with the current user behavior analytics is that they generate enormous amount of false positives. And the main reason is that they are based on analysis of volumetric and frequency-based analysis of single activities and generate a single baseline over time. But rightfully, as you mentioned, Danny, each one of us in the application has many profiles, many behaviors. We don't have one average behavior. We don't have anything like this. We have many behaviors. So if we have many behaviors and the current user behavior analytics has a single baseline, obviously you generate a lot of false positives because it's not accurate, because none of us has an average behavior. Every other day or application, we have very few behaviors and multiple profiles. And this is one of the ways RevealSecurity address this challenge. And we have managed to develop a technology, a solution that actually learns the normal behavior of a user by creating multiple behavior profile automatically and continuously monitor the behaviors and updating all of this profile as we go. And if you deviate from that specific sets of profiles and generate a sequence of activity that is not similar to your profiles, nor to your peer groups, we will be able to flag it as an anomaly behavior and be able to risk that. And that's where the accuracy comes from the ability to look into sequence of activity, user journeys, and the ability to have multiple profile per user per application. That's where we differentiate significantly from the current user behavior analytics. Also, the current user behavior analytics are very much infrastructure oriented, as opposed to us, where we are application focused. And that's also where we differentiate from the pack.
So what the solution is doing is it's taking multiple profiles from each of these users, combining those profiles, and also detecting anomalies between the profiles as well, and then adjusting it as these people's behaviors change. Could you give us a kind of a typical example of what an application layer attack would look like, and how we would be able to kind of represent that when we're using this type of technology for threat detection?
So one of our customers, which is a very large insurance company, gave us data for 2 years for one of their core business applications. And we were requested to analyze. And out of the 2 years, we identified 30 anomalous sequences. 6 out of these 30 basically were related to a very specific user in a very specific day. And everybody knew about this incident, which was known as an internal fraud that was done by one of the internal employees. But we also identify an event that actually happened 2 months before that specific day. And everybody were focusing not on the 6 events that we actually detected, but everybody was very much intrigued about the 7th event that was related to the same user that happened 2 months before. And we actually showed them that the same user has performed a journey inside the application, but only for £1, as opposed to hundreds of thousands of pounds transfer between accounts. That happens 2 months later. So that specific user has tested the applications to see if he can commit that fraud. And once he understood that he can do this over £1, basically committed 2 months later on a much larger scale. And that's where the power is. You can detect journeys and sequences that varies from your day-to-day activities. And that's where the accuracy, and that's what the innovation that from RevealSecurity. That's one of the examples.
Got it. That's fantastic. So really kind of identifying that that kind of smaller anomaly, if you like, would be the kind of key indicator before a bigger incident took place, correct?
I will rephrase it. So he actually committed the same flow. So he tried to see if he can do that internal fraud and that sequence. Once he understood that he can do the same sequence, he can do a sequence that is not being detected by any one of the internal controls. He basically committed another fraud 2 months after, but not on £1, but on a much larger sum.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's kind of detecting that what we refer to as a kind of a single point anomaly. So a very kind of although he's doing things in a sequence that are going undetected. Obviously, if you do things like that at scale, even in any type of activity, you're going to be detected. You probably exceed the threshold or something, and it would probably flag up that kind of detection. So it's very easy for these things to go undetected if they're done in the right way.
So let me phrase it this. We are not based on thresholds, Danny. All the current user behavior analytics are threshold based. We basically not thresholds, but we look on the sequence. So once you commit a sequence, number of clicks, different clicks in the applications, which very different than your standard behaviors and profiles, we will indicate that this is an anomalous sequence. We're not looking into a thresholds like the current ones, because they are very noisy and generate a lot of noise, a lot of false positive, but we're looking into the sequence of clicks, which are the sequence of activities that the user is doing inside the application. And that's where we're very much different in terms of the analytics, the user journey analytics that we apply.